Hey kids, it's time for another exciting episode of KWJUDAS. Chris McDowell on KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. And you guys know this guy. It's Chris fucking McDowell. It's the Chris McDowell.
Chris McDowell.
This guy we've been hanging out with for some time. I've known him about as long as I've known the Wizard.
It's true.
We all kind of, I guess, congregated in the same smoke shop, coffee shop, music venue, the Steamers, which I'm sure you've heard us talk about more than once on this show, and some of you may have even been there before. It was a fun place, a fun gathering place, and it's just great that we still are not only hanging out, but we're still getting guests on this show from back then. It's awesome to see people that are still playing music because, of course, if you have been in a scene for like more than 10, 20 years, you've seen a lot of people come and go, you know, for whatever different reasons. We get married, we go on missions, we go to college, we go to church, we get scared. So way to stay resilient there, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. Glad to be here. It's an honor.
Thanks for being on this show.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, where do we even start? Okay, we're going to start with Steamers. So, I used to book an open mic night for just anybody who wanted to come in and play. And this guy came in and asked for a show. And he claimed to be in a different band, but he wasn't. And we have gotten past that since then. And he had a very still unique style, unique voice, and just kind of course, just a guy with an acoustic guitar. You see a lot of them. But it wasn't just the way you'd play. It was the way you interacted with other musicians that I kind of appreciated and wanted to keep you coming back around. You know,
you.
I could put you with whoever, you know, Chris Johns or Depth of Field, or I don't know if you remember any of these guys. But yeah, basically plays very well with others. So, again, I'm just stoked to have you on here and to be able to get to listen to your actual studio recordings, because all I ever got to hear was, you know, just you playing acoustic guitar way the fuck back at Steamers open mic like 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah, long time.
So what were you doing before that?
Before that, I started music at the age of 4 and just ran with it. It's just something that I was kind of had the knack for, you know, at an early age.
Started with guitar?
Piano. Started with piano.
Were you actually taking lessons?
From my grandmother.
Word.
Yes. And she would teach me how to play the piano by number and not just chord chart.
Right.
And so she would just mark them with numbers, and eventually I just picked up on it quick, and I had, you know, I've always played by ear. I didn't even learn classical theory until college.
At least you finally got it. I never did. It's always just been by ear for me.
It's been it's not easy. It's a language of itself.
For sure.
And it definitely does take discipline, you know. But
You have to want to learn it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely.
Or be forced to. Like, you just have to.
I am so glad that I didn't grow up that way. Like, that my parents were, you know, and my family were very supportive in, you know, me being active in that particular craft.
So was it like you asked for lessons?
No.
Kind of thing?
No, just like my grandma taught me this certain way with numbers on the piano. She would just mark numbers 1 through, you know, 9, and I just run with it.
Word.
Yep. And then eventually I started just developing my own compositions. And
so you started writing your own stuff on the piano?
Oh, yeah. I have some piano releases on YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got a track called It Was Never Free.
Word.
So
how old were you when you wrote that?
That was just in the last 7 years, actually.
Right.
The last 7 years. I was staying in a monastery in Riverside, California, where I was born, and it's through a Episcopalian diocese, ironically. And so I was going through there. I was getting help from this, you know, church. And I got the opportunity to live there, and was given the opportunity to run a kitchen, and we'd feed like 150 homeless people a day.
Oh,
so
word.
I did that for a long time for a free place to live, like at a church, ironically. And And so once I was able to move from everything I was struggling with back then, I was struggling with mental illness, I was struggling with addiction and things, like a lot of us do.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just that proper stepping stones. It's where the universe wanted me at that time. So, yeah, I've always kept a knack for music. The recording was actually on YouTube. With this track I'm particularly talking about, it was actually recorded at that Episcopalian temple.
Cool. So. We'll definitely have some links to the descriptions, or in the description below, for people to check out. So that was about what year you were saying?
It's 2018.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is long after we had met.
Oh, yeah.
Word. How old were you when you first wrote your first song? Like on piano or whatever?
On piano or guitar or whatever?
Yeah.
I want to say like 13.
On piano?
Instrumental stuff I'd always kind of tinkered around and just played and progressed, by myself. But with guitar, I'd say really delving into the songwriting aspect of things, 13 years old is when I took the journey of writing my first song.
Word.
Yeah.
Is it a song you still keep around?
No. No, not at all.
Yeah. I don't know how many people still, play or bump their first song they ever wrote. But, that's something that everybody has to understand with not just music, but anything. Your first effort is definitely not going to be your best.
Fair enough.
But on that note, let's get into it. Chris McDowell here. He has self-released, self-recorded, self-produced pretty much everything we're hearing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, like I said, it's pretty cool to just watch musicians as they flourish and develop over the years. From just playing acoustic guitar in our lowly Steamers Cafe to being the booming fucking rock star he is now, recording the hit singles.
No.
This next song is called The News by Chris McDowell, KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio.
I woke up this morning and started reading the news. I couldn't believe my eyes and I couldn't believe it was you. The word said you found him, the one you never knew. At least not like me anyway, and I hope that he treats you good. Treat you good. Don't you think it's a little funny how this goes? Don't you think it's a little such a sight, plain to see, and it's everything that we need. Yeah, yeah. Everything that we need. When you find yourself on the front page, you see me standing in the background, and all the lights stay flashing, the world comes crashing down. Yeah. Take the time to find your own place. You can try to feel, but you can't fake. And all these things that may come down.
Chris McDowell here on KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. So, we left off. You were in California. What brought you to Utah?
Just family affairs.
So, you had family here, or you had family you needed to maybe get away from?
I guess you could say both.
Makes
I
sense.
guess you could say both in a lot of ways.
Right. And that was about what year?
Oh, I'd say 2001. 2001.
So, we would have met probably 2004.
Yeah.
So, it'd been like 3 years. Were you always in Provo?
No, I was in Orem.
Orem.
Yeah, I was in Orem.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were just talking like how, like, people in Utah just have this general judgmental kind of thing. But at the same time, for whatever reason it draws people here. And a lot of times it is an escape, if that makes any sense. I don't know how many times you're like, what the fuck are you doing here in Utah? And more often than not, it was
running away from something.
for whatever reason, not only just running away from something, but it's usually something in California. Like, I don't know. I'd have to say 9 times out of 10, when you ask someone, what the fuck landed you here, they were trying to get away.
Well,
I was
I
like,
mean,
from
there's-
what? From where? California. Something down there. Just, I don't know. But they never shut up about how cool California is.
I have partial feelings about California. I mean, I grew up there the first 20 years of my life.
So,
Well, 19 years of my life, and then came here.
so you're born there.
Yeah, born and raised.
Word.
Yep.
You actually did know some kind of famous bands, didn't you? Like, at least kind of
I've had
sort
a lot
of in the same
opportunities.
neighborhoods.
I was jumping in a lot of punk bands in the local SoCal scene. I was had projects of my own at the same time. Got to play some really cool venues: Whiskey, Roxy,
Word.
Viper Room, House of Blues.
And check out a lot of bands from around there, I guess, kind of like before they got big.
Yeah, there's the SoCal music scene back in the late 90s.
Yeah, a lot of bands were
You know
coming
what
out
I
of
mean?
there.
Yeah, it was pretty booming.
For sure.
You know? But for my style, I was young and jumping in and out of bands. I've kind of always been a drifter,
Right.
musically. And if I like it, I dig it and get the opportunity to be a part of it, then I'll usually roll with it. I left. My last show was actually the Clemson International Festival out in Clemson, South Carolina. That was the last headlining show that I had done at Clemson University.
You were headlining.
Yeah, we headlined.
You were with a band?
Yes, the transcultural Yaz band.
Okay. The Transcultural Yaz Band.
Yes.
How do you Yaz, like YAZ?
Double Z.
Yaz.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Explain.
we were a Latin Peruvian session group.
Random.
Yeah.
How did
session
you
group.
get in that?
Lucky. Just
You just kind
stars.
of meet the right people. And
yeah, stars aligned. And
how long were you doing that?
5 years.
You playing guitar?
Yes.
Word.
Yep.
Did you do any songwriting or just
no,
kind of playing along?
What we would do is we would take old Latin, Peruvian, and Mexican, like mariachi and cumbia style music. Like we would take like old, like legendary recordings.
Yeah.
And we would revise them.
Right.
And do them ourselves. You know.
Hell yeah. That would be a lot of fun, I think.
Being bilingual and trilingual and all. Yeah. I mean, there was 6 of us. There was Bolocata Conde, was one of our percussionists. He's world renowned.
Really?
World renowned. You can look him up. Yeah, he's world renowned drummer, master drummer. And
nice.
So there was Tim Collins. Tim Collins is probably one of the best pianists since, I want to say, Richard Manuel from the band.
The band.
Yeah, as far as having that real southern honky tonk, but you could throw anything at this boy musically and he'll just play it. He's still to this day a living legend. Tim Collins, you should check his music out too. It's
wait, he's good. He's solid, good shit, solid shit. None of that diuretic shit. Let's get into another song. We have CHRIS MCDOWELL here on KWJUDAS. Thank you all for joining us in Gumption City tonight.
For all the years I tried to reach you, it's been hard to teach myself. Patience and waiting for something greater. It's been hell, heavy ever since my foundation held. Shaking a little. Hold on, stay fast. No, we're never coming back. So long to that world you live in. I will take you home. Of all the things your eyes and heart have seen, breaks my own to think that you've been jaded. Now that you're on somewhere safe to sleep, home and love is what you need. And I'm building to set you free. Hold on, steadfast. No, we're never coming back. So long to that world you've been living. I will take you home. 3 seconds to last on. Almost got to baby, don't stop.
Chris McDowell, KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. While we were playing that song, he was telling me a little bit about what band that song was written for or by. Name of the band?
Gravity and the Avalanche.
And that there was a book that you're working on by that same name.
Same title. Yeah, it's a book I've been kind of working on for years. It's kind of it's a non-fictional book based under current fictional times. Does that make sense?
So is it done, like what style is it done? Is it still telling a story like from first person, or like there's a main character?
There's lots of characters.
Okay.
There's lots of characters, but it's basically a story that leads into exposing certain organizations that are tied to human trafficking.
Word.
And kind of what's going on right now, and what has gone in the past, which, the very core subject that's been seems to be coming out of the music industry, on the bad side of things.
How so?
Oh, you hear, the crazy conspiracy stories, about
human trafficking in the music industry.
Yeah, well, just
because as far as that goes, all I've heard, well, everybody knows about R. Kelly.
It goes on around the whole world, not just like, in that.
But yeah, I don't like to get too far into conspiracy theories.
Sure.
I think that they can be kind of fun to entertain. I'm not just going to write them off entirely. I, of course, do not just accept everything I'm told at face value, and you'd be an idiot to just trust your government, for any fuck reason, or, any religious or authority figure or political figure. But I don't just say that everything is bullshit, and just think that it's all a big conspiracy, and I especially don't adhere to just one, conspiracy.
Well, you can't.
You
can't, otherwise you'd be unbalanced.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of, the grays, little bit of lizard people, but not too much. Then you become a children of the Matrix, and it's just shut the fuck up, dude. But mostly, I'll listen to other people's stuff, but I think any good, true conspiracy theorist has their own shit. They don't need other people's stuff. Other people's stuff really is just like reinforcement to their own crazy, kooky stuff that they've always thought they were the only one that ever thought that until, I don't know, they got their hands on a David Icke book, and they're like, fucking children of the Matrix, oh my God, I thought I came up with this. Everybody's had that moment, haven't they?
No.
No?
No.
Huh.
Every moment is that moment.
I choose to remain impartial.
It is the middle of the show, by the way.
Oh, well, in that case, do you have a useless fact for us?
I, in fact, do.
All right. It's time for Wizard's Useless Fact.
It is not very well known that frogs can vomit up their own stomach, turning it inside out, so it dangles out of their mouth.
I think I have heard that, but not all frogs can do that, can they?
No, they can.
All frogs?
As far as I know.
Every frog on the fucking planet?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the next frog I meet to do that.
You should. Well, you got to feed them something that they can't digest or that is attacking them after they swallow it, and that's the way they get rid of it. They have a tendency to swallow things whole, and sometimes that can be hazardous to their health unless they can get rid of it fast.
And that was another useless fact from the wizard. Well, next frog I meet, I'm going to ask him to do that after I feed him an Ajax pellet. If they make Ajax pellets. Maybe we'll have to talk to the boys upstairs at Derpenshley about that one. You never know what they might come up with next. Speaking of which, let's get to it. KWJUDAS, Chris McDowell, Gumption City Radio.
Hey kid, are you tired of watching a frog puke up his own stomach and thinking, man, I wish I could do that? Yes? Wait, no? Wait, They can do that? Of course, silly. Weren't you paying attention?
Attention to what?
Why, my child, from the makers of Derbenschlei's candy-coated Ajax pills, we bring you Derbenschlei's new chocolate-covered comic cleanser nougat.
Well, like everything you try and tell me, that sounds pretty fucking cool.
Eat the nougat. Now that's good stomach.
Hey, no! You can't do that! Give me back my stomach! No! No! How will I live? Huh, what a kooky cartoon that was. You gotta hand it to Derbenschlei.
Aren't they all kooky?
Not all of them. There was that one that was really sad and kind of depressing.
There have been a couple of those, haven't there?
Yeah. I mean, really, all I was thinking was, I've never done a sad cartoon, and I've never tried to, like, I guess, simulate a sad moment. And so I thought I would try. And Derpin Kid's grandpa died, and so he could no longer use his used shaving cream.
Aww.
Or something along those lines. I don't know. It was last season. We did a lot of fucked up things last season. And this season, we're trying to keep things more wholesome and on the kosher side so that all of our listeners can appreciate what we're doing here. What? People misuse that word too much, you know. It's just like their way of saying things are okay. This guy will explain to you what the fuck kosher really means. Never mind.
I don't even know how to respond.
We don't want to get into a religious argument again.
I don't even know how to respond to that, honestly. But bless you, my friend.
Am I kosher now? Have I been blessed?
I can if you want.
Okay, how about we swap blessings? I'll give you a Melchizedek priesthood blessing, and just the look on his face I just got. Does that mean you really want one, or? Wow, now the look I'm getting. No, he does not want a priesthood blessing.
No,
okay.
That's not the case. I have a priesthood blessing.
Oh, you've had one.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, I'm Jewish, and
Mormons really want to bless Jewish people.
They have. It's known. I've actually had a buddy, Alex, that lives local who grew up Orthodox Jew, and
all the Mormons wanted to bless him,
and then converted. Actually,
they got him.
They got him.
He became a resident.
No, they technically didn't get him. Like the way he's living, and he's doing well now. It's like, he's blessed.
Well, I mean, the church ain't for everybody, but it is for some. I say that about just about any religion, unless it like encourages you to kill the infidels. Then it does help a lot of people, regardless of what religion it is.
The old ways.
But it isn't for everybody, and as long as whatever said religion can accept that too,
sure,
then cool. Yeah.
I mean, the whole key, I think, to how I grew up spiritually was to just be good. You know what I mean? Treat others as you would want to be treated.
The golden rule.
But we all through our natural human infancies, by growing on it, through time, we all fall down, dude. And then we get back up again. That's part of the process. Suffering is part of the process.
And I think that the golden rule applies to people who enjoy suffering. Very much so. It goes both ways, and treat other people the way you want to be treated. Well, there are people who just kind of treat people like shit in general.
There are.
And it's probably because there's a little bit of sadism and masochism that enjoys pain. Not just enjoys inflicting it, but enjoys getting it in return.
I wouldn't say. I don't know. That's a tough one. When you're thinking in terms of another human being, psychologically.
I'm speaking from the point of view of the guy who does it. So yeah, I think
there's a psychological factor to that.
Why do you think I spread so much suffering? Because a little bit of it enjoys to suffer. And that's why I surround myself with the people I do. Thanks for being around, guys.
Fair enough.
You make me suffer just that little bit much more.
Oh, geez.
It's just so painful being around you. Thank you.
You're so very
And that's
welcome.
that's why
Give him a curtsy.
I try and be as big a pain in your ass as possible. Let's get to another song. Thank you for joining us tonight. KWJUDAS, CHRIS MCDOWELL on Gumption City Radio.
Bobby played devil by the campfire while we're laughing it up, being free. Desiree, she reads her book by the tent side while Toledo, he quietly sleeps. Even though you tore me down, shame my name and you stole my crown, threw my legs out from under me. But somehow you set me free. It's a goddamn shame, 'cause we're both to blame. Soldier soul, that's the name of the game, and it's very hard to do, 'cause you know that you'll never be you. Beneath the stains of time, we come together to find ourselves. Beneath the stains of time, yeah, that's what we do. Beneath the stains of time, we came together to lose ourselves. Beneath the stains of time, yeah, that's what we do. Jason and Cassandra like to party by moonlight, while Miss Striker's quite meek with her words. There's Kyle and Joe, they like to fly with the birds now. And there's Terry, yeah, she's out of this world. Now this mountain up above the sea, we got it all, yeah, we got what you need. And I no longer even need to think about you, and it's easier to live and let breathe. We come together to find ourselves beneath the stains of time. Yeah, that's what we do. Beneath the stains of time, we come together to lose ourselves beneath the stains of time. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do.
I like that one. I like the vibe. That was chill. I kind of like
Thank
the
you, good
darker
sir.
side of things, and I know you've got a dark side. I also
We
know
all do.
there is a little bit of a story, you say, behind that tune.
Yeah, that was actually a camping trip to friends, even some people you may have met.
Oh, so this was in Utah?
It was in California.
Okay.
But there were some people from Utah
Okay.
that were down there that are pretty well known from the same, old crowd.
Right.
From the Provo days and Orem days. Cassandra Lang.
Okay, yeah. All right, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Cassandra Lang. Yeah, she was she was there. Yeah, we all had a good time.
So you were
She's even mentioned in
camping.
that song, yeah. So I'd actually just got back from South Carolina.
Okay.
Because I had been in South Carolina, a couple times through a span of like 10 years.
Word.
So.
But you were camping out in California.
Yeah, after coming back. I decided to come back. I owned property in South Carolina at the time.
Word.
And so I left my house and went to California because there was a divorce.
Right.
Se, and kids were involved. I have children. And so just led me that way. And I recorded that song, San Luis Obispo, California. That's exactly where we went camping.
So what happened while you were out there?
Well, just the song pretty much explains where I was at emotionally and mentally at the time, like going through a divorce. And but everybody's just having a good time, doing their own thing, as all of us around here love to hike. We got the mountains.
Yeah, it is a thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing around here. And if you're, Utah local, it's kind of what we do,
Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, it's like the only cool thing to do around here. There aren't any fucking bars or anything, and bars aren't that cool anyway.
I can agree with that. I can totally agree with that.
I'm just being a dick. There's a couple fun ones, but, I mean, I don't really drink anymore anyway, and even when I did, I only went to bars for shows.
I was going to say, that's the only time I ever find myself at a bar is when I'm playing a show there.
And I was playing shows,
or to watch
to see a
someone
show.
play. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You
got a friend that's playing, or actually have a bigger band that's playing at a bigger place that still has drinks. I have, I don't like talking too much about just alcohol and not drinking, and there are things I like about it and things I don't, but the biggest thing that is nice is not needing a drink all the fucking time. Not being at a show and being like, I gotta go. You know how much of shows I've missed because I had to get drunk first? I've sat out an entire band I wish I would have seen because I was car barring it while they played. Because you had no re-entry, and it was more important to me to catch a fucking buzz than to actually watch the goddamn band. And that's just not right. Not right, folks.
That's some serious accountability right there, man. That's
yeah,
that itself right there is cool, man. I appreciate it. I respect that.
And just saying, I got to go get another drink in the middle of the show, and then just sitting in the fucking line to go get a $7 fucking Bud Light in a goddamn red Dixie cup that you sit there and clench for like an hour and a half and like barely take little sips off of it because not only does it cost you $7, but it takes 15 minutes to get another one. And then, yeah, you get to sit there through... Dude, Go-Go Bordello, when they opened for fucking Primus. I sat through almost all of Go-Go Bordello's set. You were there for that one. It was all up on the balcony and shit, so you're way the fuck far away from the stage. You can still kind of watch the show, but the only place to get a drink is way the fuck away.
It's like up on the first balcony.
And there was like a huge multitude. It wasn't a line. It was a crowd all around the fucking bar.
Jammed
and you just had to
shoulders.
sift your way to the bar like you would sift your way to the fucking stage. You know what I mean? I really did sit there. I could still see Go-Go Bordello. Unfortunately, I sat in line to get a drink through almost their entire set. I don't like that. And so now at least you don't have that ever. Like, I'm going to go get a drink and sit there for 15 minutes and like miss the opening band almost entirely. I think I got to see like their last two songs. Yeah. And then Primus was next, and so it's like you have the choice.
I like Primus live.
Love Primus.
I've had the opportunity to see Primus a couple times, even with Buckethead, and blew my socks off.
Yeah, I've seen
totally blew my socks off.
Buckethead
back in the late
come
90s,
out
in the late '90s too.
He used to guest on a lot of their shows. He used to guest at least for a song or two on most of their shows. I don't think he was there for this one, if I remember right. Actually, I've seen Primus quite a few times, so it's kind of hard to like recap what happened. I do remember Go-Go Bordello played, and we met Go-Go Bordello afterward. I was trying to meet Les Claypool, but he's a dodgy bastard these days. But we still got to hang out with Go-Go Bordello. And what's funny is he met them and I met them, but we never crossed paths.
It's true.
So we hung out there until Eugene was like, everybody needs to get the fuck out of here. None of the people wanted to smoke weed with us. Randall was taking forever to roll a joint. As we're getting kicked out, I practically had to grab him and like drag him out of their back room because I think dude wanted to get laid. I think that was what was going on. CHRIS MCDOWELL, KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio.
Come out of your shell, dig out of your well for you. Only in time you see that you find the truth. Make no mistake, taking a break into these pieces, they fall and shatter like ice for you. New
Chris McDowell on KWJUDAS Gumption City Radio. We are coming down to the top of the hour. I don't know how you come down to the top of something, but that's what we just did. We came down to it.
It was amazing. You should have seen it.
And we got one song left. But before we get to it, where's some good... Where do we find your music?
You can find me on Soundcloud, Reverbnation. Just type in "Speaking in Metaphors."
Speaking in Metaphors
would be one of the musical projects, alias, per se.
That's like
And
what
then
you go by?
Well, no, I have different musical projects going on,
Okay.
especially with Gravity and the Avalanche.
Right.
You can find music with that. You can find music with Speaking in Metaphors. You could find me under Chris McDowell and the Sassafras Roots. That's more of like
Awesome.
It's more of a reggae kind of,
Word.
chill vibe going on.
Cool.
Aeryn Nations. We played the second annual Bob Marley Fest. That was pretty rad.
Nice. Yeah. Where was that?
California.
Word. Of course it was. So we'll leave some links to all this stuff down in the description. There was a couple of songs that we really wanted to play tonight that unfortunately we just could not get them off of his SoundCloud. What were the names of those songs?
Under Speaking in Metaphors, you could find more singles there.
Yeah, it was Speaking of Metaphors. So definitely recommend checking that out because it was good stuff, and we couldn't get it off of there. We couldn't get them into waveform, and I'm no professional. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And Chris wasn't even supposed to be here tonight. We had a cancellation, and I really appreciate you filling in at such short notice on this Sabbath day. We didn't even know we already had a fucking other guy here scheduled, which also we did 2 shows tonight. So yeah, thank you for your help. And your willingness to even... He was going to record this whole fucking episode tonight, so I'm glad that things went smoother than I thought they might. So without further ado, this next song it features a musician that we all know. If you have been around in our group of friends long enough, this features John Hunsberger. And anybody else?
No, just me and John
It's just the two of you guys both playing guitar?
Guitars, drums. I'd played several instruments. I jumped around. I played bass.
Okay, so it's like a studio project where you're all laying down the tracks and all that shit.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Mad props to John Hunsberger.
And the song's actually about Utah, actually. So.
Well, then it's a good one to end with. KWJUDAS, this is Chris McDowell and John Hunsberger here on Gumption City Radio. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight.
Come and gone for those whose luck's been spent and thrown away. I've been known to get it wrong, but this time of year usually comes on strong. With the shining just east of here, there's a dark night lining the atmosphere for you. Oh, for you. My, oh my. I've got all this free time on my hands. I'd like to climb these mountains built on sand. It's true, and when it shakes, everybody will know their mistakes. So darling, cheers to love and faith. Don't fear when you're struggling, wondering what to do from here. Just believe. I know there's meaning in things meant to be. And my, oh my, what a scene. And oh, what a thought it was me. Travel down this broken road, the only one I've ever known. And my, oh my, what a scene. Kick it one time, Johnny.
We'd like to thank you all for joining us once again on an exciting and exclusive episode of KWJUDAS on Gumption City Radio. We now turn you back to our regularly scheduled Gumption City program.